All right, it's past June 1st, so where's Jalen Ramsey? We got an update on Ramsey, also an injury update on Braden Fiske, and we're talking the Rams offensive line. All that more coming up next on Locked On Rams.
You are Locked On Rams, your daily Los Angeles Rams podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Ramily, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Rams, your daily podcast covering your Los Angeles Rams. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're also available over on YouTube, so if you haven't yet, do us a huge favor. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the like button, and also, if you're listening to the pod, drop us a review. We'll read it on the show. My name is Doug McCain. Friends call me DMAC. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. I've covered LA sports for over a decade, 24/7 sports, Bleacher Report, SI, Dodgers Nation. I also do NFL radio for Westwood One. Today I'm flying solo. The People Champ, Mr. Travis Rogers, will be back tomorrow. We're also doing 3 shows a week for the month of June. Probably do 4 or 5 during some weeks. I'm going to jump in here with some interviews during this time frame as well, so be on the lookout for that. I'll keep you posted. But we got a jam-packed show. We're talking the offensive line. We're talking Braden Fiske. We are talking Jalen Ramsey because it is now June, and that is the date where things can actually start to happen. And the reason for that is a post-June 1st trade just makes more sense from a financial standpoint. I mean, if you had traded in the last couple of months, it would have cost the Dolphins a lot when it comes to cap hits, and we'll talk about that more in a second. But the latest update comes from ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, who said about Jalen Ramsey and the Rams that the Los Angeles Rams are, quote, on his radar as a potential option. The LA Rams, Ramsey's old team, is on his radar as a potential option. Nothing moving there as of yet. He should have a new team this fall. So clearly he has some options. Clearly there's some expectation that the Rams are going to be involved. He said the expectation is that Ramsey will be traded in the coming days and weeks. They can save about $10 million on their salary cap if they do so. That is not the issue. He's got $24 million guaranteed. That is the major issue here. Teams have been a little spooked by that. So that's really what it comes down to is, are teams willing to commit to what he's owed for the next season? Because, I mean, you look at the Rams, they have $19.4 million in cap space. And look, I mean, if you look at the cap hit at $5.9 million, that's not going to hurt them. But Ramsey does have that $25 million cap hit next year. And there is, though, an out in his contract after the season. So you could find a way to get a new deal done where both sides can agree upon what makes sense for their future. So that's something that you don't need to do right away. There's a world where you could trade for Ramsey and then you could figure out something down the line. But the truth is the Rams are, I think, in a pretty good spot as far as kind of leverage goes because, I mean, it's out that the Rams are a destination that he would consider. It's out that we know that this is a cost-saving move for them. If you look at just already the fact that we're in June, you're in a good spot. The Dolphins are taking just a $5.9 million cap hit instead of a $12.6 million cap hit had they traded him earlier. So I think both sides are going to give this some time to try to maximize their return. But I think that they're also in a spot where you want to make something happen sooner than later. Sean McVay said about Ramsey, I feel good about where we're at. Obviously, Jalen's a unique deal, but I think we feel that this is a way in terms of the guys that have played. We've got a lot of guys that have played meaningful ball at the corner position, at the safety. We've got some different guys that can flex between safety and dime, linebacker, the nickel, star spot. I do feel really good about the development of that group. So the Rams, they do a great job in trying to putting themselves in the best position from a leverage standpoint. They're just trying to make it seem, hey, we are not desperate. We are not going to be desperate. We are going to make this move if it makes sense for us, but we're not going to go out there and blink first, right? And they've made it clear, though, that they like him. I mean, they really do. They want him back. It's clear that that's the case, too. Sean McVay said, obviously, we love Jalen. We know Jalen intimately. There would be some things that would need to be able to do if that was going to be a direction that we went. We certainly haven't closed the door on that, but there hasn't been a whole lot of dialogue as of late in regard to some of the communication, and so we'll see if that changes. So, yeah, I mean, they played their cards right. I think that, I mean, the fact that they're now making it say, oh, there's been a lot of dialogue. Oh, we have a secondary that has experience. I mean, they're definitely strategic about this, and that's clear at this point. Now, the only thing is, do you pull the trigger on a deal? Do you try to get it? And I think that if no other team wants him and he has to play for cheap moving forward, I think that that's something that you kind of look at. It's just like, how many teams are you truly competing with for his services? And I think for him, it really comes down to, okay, like, I got a couple more chapters left in my career, and I think that his window as far as being a impact player on a Super Bowl winning team, a Super Bowl contending team, it aligns with where the Rams are at, with Matthew Stafford, with Devontae Adams, with Sean McVay, with this group of players that is ahead of schedule because they really didn't go through a rebuild. But since they drafted so well, they're in a spot to go out there and compete. And I think Ramsey and the Rams, it is going to be ongoing. And I'm very curious to see if something gets done and when that gets done, because I think that if you are this Rams team, you're kind of in this interesting spot that not a lot of franchises get to. And that is, we're legitimate Super Bowl contenders now, but we have a lot of flexibility moving forward, right? We are not locked into our starting quarterback for more than 2 years. Outside of that, we're not locked into these long-term deals. Yes, you're trying to get a deal done with extension, done with Kyron and then Puka at some point. And yes, you got some of these pillars, but there's a combination of, okay, we need to develop our future and give them valuable experience and allow them to grow, while also saying, yeah, but we're not that many pieces away. We got a couple pieces of the puzzle left, and we can truly go for it. And, yeah, I think that it comes down to one thing and one thing only. Do they believe in the ability and the talent of Jalen Ramsey right now? Is he just a name from the past? Is he someone that is living on his reputation from years ago? Or is there still something in there that says, okay, I'm an upgrade to what they currently have? And how big of an upgrade to what they currently have, right? Is it a major upgrade or is it a minimal upgrade? I mean, these are all fair questions to ask. And I think that you got to trust the organization, because I'm at the point where if they get Jalen Ramsey, I'll be like, all right, nice. I'm not expecting all pro Jalen Ramsey, but he's an upgrade to what they currently have. I mean, they were bottom third in most categories involving the secondary last season. But if they don't get him, I would probably say, well, the Rams they know him as well as anyone. They know how to evaluate as well as anyone. And they didn't think that they had to get him to make this team a championship contender. And you kind of have to trust their process. And I think that's certainly where I would be. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but I mean, it's just, you're not completely privy to where he's at behind the scenes, where he's at physically at this point of his career. I mean, it always feels great to kind of bring the band back together and and have that be the case. And okay, the boys are back in town. There's nostalgia involved. It brings up good feelings. But I always say, I mean, you never want to put the McDonald's French fries in the microwave and expect them to taste like they did when you pulled through the drive-thru and you reached deep into that bag and it was salty and warm. It's probably not going to be, I'm clearly going to McDonald's for lunch, by the way. It's clearly not always the case with that. But, hey, who knows? I mean, maybe there's a way that they think it's going to work out and it's a lot of money for him. And I personally, my whole thing is, I think they need to trade for a corner or add a corner to this group. If they truly want, if they're all in 100%, maybe they're not all in 100%, but they're all in 100%, which I think that they are close to being, then I think you need to add a cornerback. I think that you need to upgrade the secondary. If that's not Jalen Ramsey, then it has to be someone else. But Ramsey is one that is a big name that's on the block right now that would be willing to come back here, that knows the system, that's familiar with the system, that knows Sean McVay, that has played under him, that's won a championship with him. So that's why there's these other factors that make it make sense. But if the season rolls around and the Rams haven't upgraded that position, I'm going to be a little disappointed for sure. I think that when you look at their competition around the league, you're looking at a defensive side of the roster that doesn't have a ton invested in it. There's some great young talent for sure that would get paid a lot more on the open market, but not a lot of high-priced defensive players on that defensive side of the football, and I think that's where you could certainly take this team to another level. But coming up next, we're talking Braden Fiske, we're talking the offensive line, we'll talk some other stuff related to your Los Angeles Rams, and how good is Braden Fiske, and how close is he to being back where he needs to be at 100%. Injury update on Braden Fiske. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. And a reminder that today's episode of Locked On Rams is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. As a small business owner, your work doesn't end when the clock hits 5. Your business is always on your mind, which means when it's time to hire, you need a partner that works just as hard as you do. That's where LinkedIn Jobs comes in. When you clock out, LinkedIn clocks in. LinkedIn makes it easier to post your jobs for free, share it with your network, and get qualified candidates all in one place. Here's how it works. You post your job, and LinkedIn's new feature can help you write job descriptions and then quickly get your job in front of the right people with deep candidate insights. And here's a pro tip. Add the hashtag hiring frame to your profile picture to double your reach to qualified candidates. No wonder 72% of small businesses say LinkedIn helps them find high-quality hires. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. And we are off and running here on Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Special shout out to those everyday listeners out there watching and listening to every single episode of Locked On Rams. Cannot thank you enough. If you haven't joined that Everyday Listeners Club, by the way, now's the time to join. All you got to do is watch and listen to every single episode of Locked On Rams. Join the Everyday Listeners Club. Join the Ramley, and you won't miss a thing about your favorite football team, the Los Angeles Rams. Okay, here in our second segment, we're going to kind of start talking about some of these year two players, kind of going player for player as we approach training camp. We still have some OTAs and things like that we'll dive into for sure. But today I want to talk about Braden Fiske because we got an update on Braden Fiske during OTAs. He missed most of the Rams' final game of the season in January against the Philadelphia Eagles in their division round loss to the Birds. He injured his knee early in the game, and it wasn't something that looked catastrophic, but it was serious enough to keep him out for the game and to require off-season surgery. So it was never expected to hold him out for week 1 in 2025, but it's good to see that he's already on the mend and really ready to go. He said after practice that he's, quote, feeling great right now. In fact, he's ahead of schedule. So that's definitely a good thing when you look at not being limited in practice or anything like that. He said everything went as planned. We're even ahead of the process now compared to where I thought I was going to be. I'm full go right now, moving, doing individual drills, doing everything and feeling great. So he's going to be a major part of this defense for the foreseeable future. This guy has the potential to be a real foundational player along with his Florida State teammate Jared Verse, who really already is. And let's not forget, as great as Jared Verse was, and he was absolutely that, Braden Fiske is the guy who did lead the team with 8.5 sacks. He was third with 10 tackles for a loss. And a lot of people were wondering, what the heck were the Rams doing when they drafted him there in the second round, moving up and giving up a ton to kind of get there. And this is why, because the dude's strong. He's a beast. He's disruptive and he makes plays. And I think that if he doesn't go down in the Eagles game, hey, maybe they have a better chance of winning that one. I mean, Fiske said, especially from where I left off last season, how I feel going into this season, I feel great. I'm ready to roll. So, I mean, I just love where the Rams are at as far as guys that can get to the QB, guys that can get home. Braden Fiske, Kobe Turner, Jared Verse, Byron Young, Josiah Stewart in that mix. I mean, you're looking at a front that can really wreak havoc, and I think, too, they're only going to get better. I'm so excited to see what they can do in year 2, and who knows what the ceiling is. I mean, really, who knows what the ceiling is? Because, I mean, you look at Kobe Turner in 2023. He had 9 sacks, 48 pressures. Byron Young in 2023. He had 8 sacks, 50 pressures. Braden Fiske, 8.5 sacks, which was more than Young, but he had more pressures, 51 in 2024, than Young and Turner had in their rookie seasons. And you look at where he's at. Rookies with 8 or more sacks and 45 or more pressures since 2020. Look at this list. Kobe Turner, Byron Young, Braden Fiske, Aiden Hutchinson, and Micah Parsons. Parsons right at the top of that list with 13 and 67. Hutchinson with 9.5 and 53. But, I mean, I think you're truly looking for some serious breakouts there. And guys that have really just scratched the surface on what they can do. Because let's not forget, too, Braden Fiske, he finished 3rd in Defensive Rookie of the Year voting. And, I mean, he played in 661 snaps. So, yeah. And then in the playoffs, he had another sack and a half in 2 games. So that's 10 sacks. That's double-digit sacks in his rookie year, which I'm not the biggest. Okay, let's use sacks as a way to evaluate a player's performance because I think you look at other things these days. But still, I mean, that's more than Aaron Donald had his rookie season. And, look, I mean, this is a guy who they loved his athleticism. They really did. I mean, he's athletic. I mean, had a 4.7, 840 in the combine, a 10-foot broad jump, and 26 reps on the bench, a 33.5-inch vertical. I mean, his relative athletic score is very impressive. I mean, Braden Fiske as a D tackle in that 2024 class, his relative athletic score was 992 out of 10. That was 14th out of 1,620 defensive tackles from 1987 to 2024. I mean, this guy should be talked about a lot more than he is. He really, really should. And then you line him up against the guys that they have. You pair him with the group that's already in there. But still, I really do think that Braden Fiske, I mean, there's a world where he can be as productive as Jared Verse. The ceiling for him is really, really high. I mean, it's going back and just kind of looking at his tape, looking at his stuff. I mean, he plays angry and mean with violence. And these two, I mean, they're going to be a 1-2 punch, man, for a long, long time. And I think, too, it's the work that he puts in. And he's always constantly trying to improve, just talking to people close to the team. It's like, you know, you ask about how guys are looking and what it looks like in practice, and Braden Fiske is the guy that is really someone that sets the tone for them. And I'm pretty sure that he could add more sacks too if you didn't have some that were called back. So, yeah, I mean, I'm very excited about Braden Fiske. I think this is a year where you're going to see these guys, they look like sophomores. They're going to play like seniors type of thing, where they're going to take a really, really big step forward, even after having a really, really good year. And look, the truth is, I mean, you gave up 2 second-round picks. They moved up in the second round at a pick swap in 2024, gave a second-rounder in a 5th. So, I mean, it was worth it. Everything they did to get Fiske was worth it. And I think that that's one of my early picks to take a major leap. I think that he's a Pro Bowler in 2025, and I think he has all-pro potential. That's how good that I think he is. And I'm really excited that he's fully healthy. And I think that is a major, major plus, is that nothing went wrong. He's feeling really good, that he's ahead of schedule, and he's able to get his normal work in, because I know that he's excited to get back to work and build on what he did his rookie season. But coming up next, where did Allaric Jackson rank among tackles And where do the Rams tackles ranked? Where do they rank among the league's best? That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. And welcome back to Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Okay, so here in our third segment, we're going to talk about the other side of the football, the offensive line, and we're going to talk about Allaric Jackson. And that's what we're going to start with. Allaric Jackson has gone from someone that was a UDFA, that had some ups and downs, that dealt with some injury issues, and then has signed a new deal, and he's back. And he has turned into an additive player, someone that is a strength, someone that brings something to the table that helps this Rams team get over the top. And you're not worried about, okay, we got to draft a left tackle. We got to trade for a left tackle. Where's our Orlando Pace? Where's our Andrew Whitworth? I mean, I've said it before on the show. If you don't have a left tackle, you're going to be left out when it comes to Super Bowl contending. Well, Jackson is definitely good enough. There really is no doubt in my mind that the progress that he's made at that position puts the Rams in a spot where you could say with confidence that they can win a Super Bowl with Allaric Jackson playing left tackle. And PFF, they just released their rankings of the top 32 offensive tackles in the National Football League. And the Rams had two starters on that list. But let's start with Allaric Jackson. Jackson, he was 9 spots above Havenstein. He was 19th overall on PFF's list. And they had this to say about him. After earning PFF's overall grades of 64.1 and 66.6 in the previous 2 seasons and ranking outside the top 30 in both years, Jackson finished the 2024 campaign with an 18th ranked 78.4 PFF overall grade. His 4.5% pressure rate allowed was also a career high and ranked 18th at the position. So, look, I mean, if I told you get a UDFA and he turned into a top 18 tackle that has moments where he looks like a top 10 to 15 tackle, you would take that because that's a position where you have to invest a lot of money in to have guys that are top tier. So the Rams were able to do that with Jackson, not get an all-pro, not the best of the best, but someone who is above average, and he's way more than just being serviceable. And I think that is a major win for the Rams. Now, as far as Rob Havenstein was ranked at 28, and here's what they said about Havenstein. The 33-year-old Havenstein's best years are probably behind him, despite earning an 80-plus PFF overall grade in 3 out of 4 seasons between 2018 and 2021. The Wisconsin product has failed to reach that threshold since. In 2024, he recorded a 75.8 PFF overall grade, his second lowest mark over the past 5 seasons, and the 25th ranked figure among offensive tackles. Havenstein remains among the better run-blocking offensive tackles after posting a 79.6 PFF run-blocking grade in 24 to rank 13th among offensive tackles. So that is his strong suit. Big Rob Havenstein. Could be his last year in the Horns. That's where he excels, and that's in the run game. And that, look, the Rams have gone to a more physical gap duo scheme, so it fits with their agenda right now with their running game. So, look, I mean, to have 2 guys on that list, I mean, that's one of the best tandems when it comes to tackles in that spot. I mean, the Eagles, we know Jordan Mailata. I mean, we know Lane Johnson. We know that there's a lot of talent around the league. But I think that for a spot where you're not breaking the bank at the current group, you have to feel good about where they're at. So happy about the Rams being in a position where you are still able to go out there and have a lot of success with guys like Havenstein and Steve Avila and Dotson, and you got Shelton back and Limmers in the mix as well. So I feel good about the offensive line. Is it elite? No, but is it above average? Yes, and they can have their moments, no doubt about it. Now, I want to point out, too, Jared Verse is becoming one of my favorite personalities. He says that he's trying to challenge Aaron Donald. He's trying to challenge Aaron Donald when it comes to lifting weights. He was on Adam Schefter's podcast, and Schefter asked Jared Verse if he ever gets to work out Aaron Donald and he said that no, he don't, that Donald doesn't want anything to do with him. He said, as far as does he want to go against him, he goes, no, he don't want that. He's not ready for that. He's not ready for that. Verse said to Schefter, he said, that little 500 bench he had, he's not ready for that. I'll be moving weight. Whenever he's ready for a workout, I'll be seeing his little Instagram posts, the dumbbell benches. He can get at me whenever he's ready. So, I mean, it's all fun, right? But, I mean, I like that. Poke the bear and try to force Aaron Donald to at least go against you in a weight training, in a lifting session. And good luck with that. But it kind of shows you, I mean, this guy really is something else, man. He definitely has that star quality where, I mean, you just love his personality. And I think that for him, he can say things like this because I think it's authentic to him. And I think that it's something that's genuine and he's not trying to be something that he's not. So you gotta really appreciate that. Now, other thing too that he said was that he could have had more than 10 sacks last season. So he kind of mentions the missed tackles in those spots. He told Adam Schefter, yeah, I was doing a lot of things, but I probably left around 10 sacks on the field just from, hey, a little too inside, a little too this, a little too that, not taking that extra step. And looking at that, I'm like, damn, that's not happening no more. So things I can do now is a whole different conversation. So that's very, very encouraging news and what you love to hear heading into year 2 for Jared Verse. He said that, hey, those little mistakes that led to missed tackles and missed sacks and some pressures that I had last year, I've corrected those, and it's also been a point of emphasis. Because if you're Jared Verse, you could have easily sat there and said, you know what, I want defensive rookie of the year. What do I have to work on? No, but he went into it knowing that he could be even better, and I think he's going to level up as well. He also said, all I know is it's going to happen, and all I know is it's going to be up as far as the sacks go, because I'm not giving them up like I was last year. I learned to take that little extra step, keep my feet underneath me, and I'm taking everything I got this year. So I like that. He took that missed tackle issue that he was dealing with last year, and he took it personally. I mean, he had 11 missed tackles in his first 4 games of his career, and we saw him struggle to bring down guys like Kyler Murray and Brock Purdy and Caleb Williams, and he finished the year with 21 missed tackles, including the postseason. So he improved upon that. So that tells you that he missed just 10 tackles in his last 15 games. So he had already shown improvement during the season last year, and then he went back and he's trying to correct those things now. And I'm telling you, Jared Verse, Braden Fiske, get ready. 1-2 punch in L.A. But that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Rams. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. And until next time, whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.